Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, we kindly invite you to please be seated as the 14th Bali Democracy Forum will soon commence. Once again, we kindly invite all excellencies, distinguished participants, to please be seated as the Bali Democracy Forum will soon commence. Thank you. Once again, we kindly invite all distinguished participants, excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, to please be seated as the 14th Bali Democracy Forum will soon commence. Thank you. Excellencies, we kindly invite you to please be seated as the 14th Bali Democracy Forum will soon commence. Ladies and gentlemen, please rise. The Minister for Foreign Affairs of the Republic of Indonesia enters the room.
Democracy, a system that reflects and upholds all values of humanity. An effort to create a world that breathes equality, equity, and inclusion in all aspects of politics, social, and economy. In this spirit, the Bali Democracy Forum was initiated in 2008 to promote a progressive democratic architecture in the Asia-Pacific region and beyond. Under the terms of mutual understanding and respects, for the last decade, the Forum has been encouraging the establishment of a balance between economic and political development, between creating peace and security, promoting human rights and fundamental freedom, and respecting humanitarian values. Despite all challenges faced by democracy, the BDF stands by three main principles: that democracy must grow and develop on home ground initiatives, hold high the values of pluralism and diversity, and it should be inclusive. This year marks the second period of the COVID-19 pandemic. The world is starting to stand on its feet and recollect all the scattered puzzle pieces. But the challenges have yet to recede. The disruption caused by the pandemic has rooted deep and creating inaccessibility to the economy, resulting in a portion of the world population falling into new poverty. This has widened the pre-existing gaps and exacerbated socio-economic inequality. The pandemic also triggered the increase of both temporary and permanent forms of exclusion towards individual and vulnerable groups. Today, unbounded by the space, we gather again, physically and virtually, to share experiences and best practices and form a collective response in addressing the challenges of poverty, inequality, and social exclusion. As economic and political recovery is the fundamental factor to our survival during the crisis, it is essential for the governments and non-state actors to strengthen the middle ground, to form a mutual relationship between the state and its citizens and among the state. Thus, the main theme of this year's BDF is Democracy for Humanity, Advancing Economic and Social Justice During the Pandemic. A framework to ensure that democracy remains as an effective instrument for the nations to circumnavigate the ongoing and upcoming crisis. It is time for democracy to answer the calls on how to ensure the humanitarian values are preserved, values that manifested into economic and social justice and the advancement of inclusion. It is time for democracy to refocus its principle to enshrine humanity. Welcome to 14th Bali Democracy Forum 2021.
Excellencies, Ministers, Excellencies, ambassadors, honorables, distinguished participants, ladies and gentlemen. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Om Swastiastu, and may peace be upon us. It is our greatest pleasure to welcome you to Bali, to the 14th Bali Democracy Forum, which draws the theme, Democracy for Humanity, Advancing Economic and Social Justice During the Pandemic. Ladies and gentlemen, to commence this august occasion, we kindly invite Ms. Maudi Ayunda to deliver the youth message on democracy.
Selamat pagi, good morning, excellencies, ministers, ambassadors, distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen, and my fellow peers. It is an honor to be speaking here today to share my point of view as representative of the young generation in this 14th Bali Democracy Forum. A changed era changes the types and features of mobile phones we use, making it easier for us to communicate. But the real essence of mobile phones has never changed: to communicate and connect with people. Same with democracy. Democratic practices may change, but the value stays the same. In today's era, the practice of democracy must be adapted to the way of life and views of the people of today. And as young people, we are uniquely placed to understand the realities and challenges faced by our communities. With that being said, the role of youth is crucial in developing democracy. Ladies and gentlemen, and my fellow peers, it has been nearly 2 years since the pandemic has brought the unprecedented, multi-dimensional crisis to every aspect of our lives. It may seem that young people are less impacted by the pandemic, but as a matter of fact, we are disproportionately affected by the long-lasting consequences by the pandemic. Even before, most young people, particularly in developing countries, face severe social and economic challenges. Thus, the youth are often excluded from policy decisions that affect their lives today and have implications for their future. According to the WHO, effects of the pandemic to the young people include disruptions to education, economic uncertainty, loss and lack of employment opportunities, physical and mental health, and domestic violence. Distinguished delegates, despite the unsettling effects this pandemic is causing, young people are more than willing to be an energetic force at the forefront of developing creative solutions for an inclusive pandemic recovery. We realize that our presence is so significant to provide real solutions in facing the current realities and challenges. So please support us by enabling an environment and space for us to do so. The youth must always be free to discuss changing ideas concerned with what is happening throughout the world. Meaningful democracy requires participation from young people. No matter how small the role we play, a democracy accommodates everyone's hopes. Democracy needs us, young people, and we need democracy. Ladies and gentlemen, in this opportunity, I would like to encourage my fellow peers, wherever you are, to have the extraordinary ability to reach across divide in order to drive a common goal, to build back the world. We are immensely resilient. We are the driving force of the world's recovery in the pandemic. We should ensure that democracy delivers for all of humanity. There is no time to wait. Everyone can move and express their aspirations because democracy is from, by, and for us. Thank you.
Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, we now have the honor to invite the UN Secretary General, His Excellency Mr. Antonio Guterres, to deliver his remarks.
This year's Bali Democracy Forum reflects an important truth. Recovery for all depends on equality for all. COVID-19 has pushed this goal even further out of reach, plunging tens of millions of people into poverty, reducing people's access to social protection, health care, and even food, setting the stage for a lopsided recovery, and wealthy countries are quickly vaccinating their people and investing in recovery, but developing countries are being left behind, short of vaccines and mired in debt. As a global community, we need to stand together so all countries can support their people, by providing urgent debt relief to countries in need, by ensuring everyone everywhere has access to the COVID-19 vaccines, and by investing in universal health coverage, social protection, education, and opportunities for all. Equality is not only the lifeblood of democracy, it is an engine of recovery. The ideas and solutions we will discuss at this forum will push us closer to our shared goal of a more equal world. Thank you for lending your voice to these critical efforts.
Excellencies, distinguished participants, ladies and gentlemen, we now have the honor to kindly invite the Minister for Foreign Affairs of the Republic of Indonesia, Her Excellency Mrs. Retno L.P. Marsudi, to deliver her keynote speech.
Dr. Hassan Wirayuda, Foreign Minister of Indonesia 2001-2009, the Governor of Bali, Vice Minister of Foreign Affairs of Czech Republic, Vice President of ICRCs, Ambassadors, Excellencies, colleagues, ladies and gentlemen. Om Swastiastu. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Salam sejahtera bagi kita semua. Dan salam kebajikan namo buddhaya. Colleagues, first of all, welcome to the 14th Bali Democracy Forum. This is the second year we gather here in a hybrid format. We have yet to return to normal life, but the world is indeed slowly getting back to its feet. The global economy is showing signs of life and projected to grow 5.9% in 2021. In some countries, we see the pandemic restrictions have loosened, but some others are tightened due to the new variant Omicron. We also see change of mindset from survival to recovery. There is no doubt that the road to recovery is going to be a long one with many twists and turns. Ambassador, colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, the pandemic comes at a very bad time for democracy. According to the 2021 report by Freedom House, global freedom has been declining for 15 consecutive years, and nearly 75% of the world population live in the countries that faced democratic backsliding last year. The pandemic has worsened this trend, including in established democracies. In last year's forum, we deliberated on how the pandemic forced us to change the way we govern. One of the challenges identified by the participants was finding the right balance between upholding democratic values and introducing temporary measures to manage the pandemic. Many countries went through the process of trial and error, and the result has varied. The 2021 report by the International Institute for Democracy and Electoral Assistance pointed out that some countries perform exceptionally well, while others struggle significantly to maintain democracy during the pandemic. Nevertheless, the fact stands that some of the best performers in pandemic responses are democracies. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, if during the pandemic we have to make some adjustment in our democratic governance, in the course of recovery, we have to embrace core democratic values. The 2021 Democracy Perception Index poll reveals that people around the world actually prefer democracy even more. This opportunity must be seized, and this forum is our opportunity to discuss how democracy could improve quality of our recovery, ensure no one is left behind in our recovery, and strengthen international enabling environment for sustainable recovery. And today, I would like to underline 3 important things. First, we must uphold equality to ensure swift recovery. In democracy, equality is about fairness. Upholding equality means affording same conditions and opportunities for everyone. In the context of the pandemic, this means giving everyone an equal chance to win this battle against COVID-19. With 28 vaccines currently approved for the use, we now have a safe and effective weapon to end this pandemic and accelerate our recovery. But our hope for smooth and sustainable recovery will depend on our ability to ensure equal access to vaccine for all. Unfortunately, right now, global vaccination gap remains wide as ever. More than 8.2 billion doses have been administered globally, but unevenly. 64.94% of the people in high-income countries have been vaccinated with at least 1 dose, compared to 8.06% in low-income countries. We have no other option but democratize vaccine distribution to all countries, with a strong focus on those that have not received their primary dose. In Indonesia, we guarantee that all citizens have equal access to vaccine. To date, we have vaccinated more than 142 million people, well on track to meet the WHO 40% vaccination target by the end of this year. This is a very huge undertaking, but our commitment is unwavering. We spare no efforts to make it easier for the people to access vaccine. We also involve a wide range of actors as vaccinators to speed up our vaccination campaign. At the global level, we also contribute to vaccine equity, including through Indonesia's role as co-chair of COVAX AMC engagement group. The issue of strengthening global health architecture will also be brought by Indonesia during the presidency of Indonesia in the G20 to make sure that all countries can cope with any future pandemics. The second point, we must promote inclusive policies to secure recovery for all. Colleagues, in democracy, inclusivity means participation of all citizens in all aspects of governance. No one should be left behind. No voice should be left unheard, and no concern should be left unaddressed. In the context of the pandemic, this means the impact of our recovery must be felt by all citizens, especially the poorest and the most vulnerable, and those hit hardest by this pandemic, such as women, youth, informal workers, persons with disabilities, and local communities. We have to democratize opportunity for recovery. Democracy will provide a meaningful space of dialogue to ensure our recovery addresses specific challenges faced by these groups. By ensuring inclusivity, we can build a more resilient post-pandemic society. The government of Indonesia is already on the right track. We continue to renew our commitment to roll out social protection programs. Rice packages have been distributed to 28.8 million beneficiary families. Social cash assistance has reached 9.9 million beneficiary families, and Family Hope Program assistance has been extended to 10 million underprivileged families to access basic social services. In the meantime, we have been implementing national economic recovery programs which focus on business incentive and support for MSMEs. Colleagues, my third point, we must create a just global economic architecture to accelerate our recovery. In democracy, justice means anyone can exercise their right and prosper in the society. In the context of pandemic, this means every country should have equal opportunity to recover. Reports from the UN and international financial institutions have warned us about lopsided economic recovery prospects between countries. About 90% of advanced economies are expected to regain their pre-pandemic per capita income level by 2022. Meanwhile, the same stride would take many more years for most LDCs, LLDCs, SIDS, and middle-income countries. A supportive international environment is required to enable countries to recover meaningfully. Let us be honest with ourselves for a while. Whether the international economic norms and regulations were developed in a democratic manner in the interest of all countries, and whether decision-making process in global financial systems have always been democratic and inclusive? The answer are a resounding no. We cannot allow unjust action or policies that hinder others' pathway toward recovery. It is about time we democratize global economic architecture and other global architecture. No more monopoly in participation in the global supply chain ecosystem. Excellencies, ambassadors, ladies and gentlemen, democracy is a catalyst for positive change, and we need democracy to recover from this pandemic. I hope today we can learn many lessons from each other on how democratic values of equality, inclusivity, and justice could help us recover together, recover stronger. And tonight, I will accompany my president at President Biden's Summit for Democracy to share our experiences in nurturing and protecting our democracy. On that note, I'm honored to declare the 14th Bali Democracy Forum officially open. May we all have a fruit discussion. I thank you very much. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Om Swastiastu.
We now kindly invite to the stage for a photo session Vice Foreign Minister of the Czech Republic, Vice President of ICRC, the Governor of Bali, and His Excellency Mr. N. Hassan Wirayuda. Excellencies, we will have 2 sessions for the photo session. The first one is with all the speakers, and the second with all distinguished participants who are present both physically and virtually. We will now commence the first session. Allow me to count in 3, 2, 1. 3, 2, 1. And now with all distinguished participants, we kindly invite those who are present physically on the right side of the stage to please look over your left shoulder. And those who are present on the left side of the stage, please look over your right shoulder. All participants who are present physically, kindly look over your shoulders. Allow me to count. In 3, 2, 1. One more time. In 3, 2, 1. Thank you, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen. This concludes the opening session of the 14th Bali Democracy Forum. We kindly invite all distinguished participants to enjoy a 15-minute coffee break that has been served in Besek Balinese traditional rattan box on your side table. Coffees will be served inside this room. Thank you very much and enjoy the coffee break.